Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Natasha and I'm a kinesiology student. And today I want to discuss how nutrition plays a role when recovering from a muscle injury. So, some people may know that they've broken bones from accidents or they're recovering from surgeries, and this is just useful information, I think, to know when one is recovering from an injury. So, usually there is muscle tissue loss within 5 days of inactivity, and the goal here is to provide enough caloric intake and protein to aid in wound healing, prevent loss of lean muscle mass, or rather lean body mass, and modulating inflammatory and immune responses, while also enhancing control of blood glucose levels, right? So in this chart, we see that an injury is a stress response in the body. So there is a much more demand for glucose and amino acids that increase, and as a result from hormonal response, it creates a catabolic environment, which can lead to large losses in lean body mass. So in order to help with this, it's important to be taking an adequate and proper nutrition. So I'll be breaking this down starting with caloric needs, then following up with protein needs, complex carbohydrates, essential fatty acids, and dietary supplements. So starting off with caloric needs, oftentimes what happens is that when people are get an injury, the initial reaction is to be in a caloric deficit, right? But the problem with that is, as I mentioned before, it is a stress response, and the body needs a bit more sustenance in order to help heal those wounds. So not being in a caloric so not being in a caloric balance does more harm to your body than good, because it can slow down healing and break down even more of body mass, because it needs more protein to heal that wound. So the first thing we need to figure out is our energy expenditure during this time. So I have another chart here that I'll pull up, and the way to calculate this is we have to figure out your resting metabolic rate, your activity level, and the stress factor, because this is a very personalized thing per person. It's going to vary and differ. So once you've figured out your calorie needs for energy expenditure, we can now move on to protein. And protein is pretty essential after an injury, because it's in charge of healing tissue and rebuilding, and also glycemic control. So without enough protein, it can cause catabolism of skeletal muscle. And a good protein that was recommended is called leucine. It's an anabolic trigger, and it is responsible for stimulating muscle protein synthesis. And some sources, you may already be familiar with it. You can come from eggs, chicken, beef, and fish, and also whey protein. And according to this article, everything will be linked down below if you wanted to check it out, that the intake of protein should be at least 1.6 to 3 grams per kilogram a day. It's going to vary. As always, you should always check in with your doctor first. All right, so moving on to complex carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates plays an important role with muscle injury because it is plays a role in immunology, hormonal factors, enzymatic process, and most importantly, it has a protein sparing effect. So when you're consuming enough carbohydrates, you're reducing the breakdown of protein during this time, which is very critical because we want to have enough protein to build more muscle and avoid using it. So that's where that comes in. And because injuries usually have an inflammatory response, essential fatty acids can help reduce the prolongedness of that inflammatory response. A really good one is omega-3 fatty acids. It's usually what's recommended to be taking, and some sources of omega-3 fatty acids are avocados, olive oil, fish, seeds, and nuts. And these are other dietary supplements that are optional if you want to take them or not. I thought they were interesting to mention. So the first one is creatine monohydrate. It improves and maintains hydration and thermoregulation, which can help in preventing muscle cramps and dehydration during that time when you're immobilized. And it also has a positive effect on muscle size and strength. And of course, vitamin D has a great importance in calcium and bone regulation. And it also has an immune regulation as well as a skeletal muscle function. And some other vitamins that were recommended to be taking was vitamin A, C, and D for A, C, and E for their role in injury recovery and wound healing. So in this chart here, we can see the 3 categories of vitamin C, A, and E, their functions, and a few good sources from there. Okay, that concludes today's video. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.